It's a house shoot part of that.
And welcome. Just leave it at that, Jules.
It's a brilliant opening, that, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We'll stick with that.
It's a chat. Oh my!
Oh, he's lost it again. No pressure.
It's the How to Shoot Hybrid podcast, discussing topics around photography, videography, and running a business. My name's Jules. I'm here with Kieran again.
Well done, Jules. That was a good one.
I got it. I nailed it this time.
You did. See, I've said that because now you're going to have to put the other two in, otherwise no one are going to know what we're on about.
It's because we're recording two on the bounce, so I'm all talked and serious out. So this is just going to be me cracking up all the time.
It's nearly 9:30 at night, so it's almost our bedtime, isn't it? So
it is. It is. So on this episode, we're going to be talking about trends and what's next, like what our predictions for what trends in the photography, videography industry, and what we think is coming next, which we probably have no idea. It's probably like something crazy that no one could think of. See what I mean? I'm just talking absolute shit right now.
You know what? When you said that, I envisioned drones flying through like churches, and it's probably been done before. But
I've got an FPV drone.
Could be the new trend. FPV drone.
I bought an FPV drone because I had this whole like thought of have you seen them cool videos where people are flying them like through venues and shit? Yeah. I had this whole thing of I'm going to do that one day, but not found anyone to do it.
That's the first trend that could be in the near future. Jules being arrested for
taking some granny out
knocking down a church. Yeah.
Anyway, right. So we're going to talk about trends, and I think trends in the industry is an interesting one, isn't it? Because I've only been doing it for 7 years. You've been doing it longer, but I imagine people like we worked with a photographer last week that had been doing it for 30 odd years. She'd been a wedding photographer for 30 odd years, and like. We were talking about all the stuff, because she started off as a press photographer before she got into weddings. So she's seen shitloads of trends, and things come and go.
How did she carry her cameras whilst pushing the Zimmer frame? That's what I want to know. I hope this photographer is
listening.
Isn't listening.
That's going to be us one day, mate.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe she started at 10. We don't know. Maybe she was 10 years old when she started.
I think I'm going to be, like the booster scooters, the mobility scooters. I think I'm going to be shooting weddings on them soon.
I tell you what,
if my legs don't like kind of improve, I'm just
talking about trends. That could be one.
Yeah, we could be on like motorized scooters. Yeah. I mean, you could get around pretty quick.
Yeah.
Or you just have a drone that literally is just you have a control center. Like how they do it in the Air Force now. They have like in a bunker in Nevada. Got a bunker at home, and you just flying your drone around at weddings.
Yeah, I'd quite like that.
Yeah, me too. Do you think people are going to be switching off from this one quite quickly because we just go crazy?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's start with a serious note. So, content creators. We started talking about content creators in the last episode in relation to how you could make extra revenue by adding different services into your wedding offerings. Mm-hmm. And we talked about content creators through that. But I think it's relevant to the trends thing, because content creators is a huge trend, probably the biggest one that you see people talk about in groups and stuff at the moment. So what are your thoughts on content creators? Is that something that's, it's obviously on the up? Do you think that that's something that's a serious, is that here to stay? I hear more of them talking about it in the US, like it's at more weddings.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I think it's coming. I think give it a couple more years. I don't think we're quite there with it yet. I mean, people are having content creators now, aren't they? But I think within the next 2 to 5 years, it's going to be like the next version of like the hybrid packages. Like people are going to want content creators to be involved in the wedding day, is my prediction anyway.
So what do you think that looks like?
In what respect? What do you mean?
Well, like,
what do you think they'll offer? Or
well, yeah. I mean, what do you think? What do you think the kind of offer is? The deliverables? How does that impact what other services are doing? I mean, you were talking about having kind of a body mount with your phone that, you could put your GoPro on it. And I know what you'll have been using that for. That'll been more like behind the scenes type effort. But you could attach your phone to it. And so one of the episodes I did quite recently, I did it whilst, because you weren't available for a few weeks. And I did like an episode where I did an update on the DJI Pocket 3 that I'd bought, and I'd used it at some more weddings. So I kind of had done a bit of a update on using that and how I thought that fitted into capturing weddings. And I recently bought like a 360, like a newer 360 camera as well to do the behind the scenes stuff at weddings. And so both of these things I will put on top of my camera, or I'll put on my strap or whatever. So that the 360 camera is mainly to get behind the scenes stuff. But the Pocket 3, for instance, I've used it at the last few weddings as like an extra angle. So if I'm doing photo and video, I've got, in things like the ceremony, I've got the camera on top of my camera, giving me an extra angle, which obviously it's not as good as a static camera. But for little bits where I hold my camera quite still to take the photos, it's like I've got this extra angle, it's wide. And so from a documentary coverage perspective, you're getting quite
quite a lot in there.
But I could easily use that switches to vertical shooting. So I could easily just put it in vertical mode, and then I could be capturing the vertical video at the same time as getting horizontal video if I'm doing video coverage, for instance. And then I don't have to have a separate workflow. I can just literally export that vertical video as my content creation clips.
Yeah, perfect. So I think the content creator side of it, I think it's coming, and I think it's going to be individuals offering them packages. I don't think it's initially going to be photographers and videographers. I think it's going to be like professional content creators with a background in like marketing and social media and whatnot. They're gonna jump on the bandwagon and think, I can make some money out of this. I know how to do it. Pretty easy gig. I'm gonna advertise myself. I've got a good following already. I can show people my examples of my work. Easy money.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, photographers are going to realize, when they see what they're doing, that actually they're capturing quite a lot of the similar stuff that the photographer or videographer's capturing anyway. So I think photographers are going to end up jumping on that bandwagon because they're going to get precious about having someone else take a photo with the same thing that they have and whatnot. So they're going to want to do it. And I think, in a way, I think it's going to be really good for them, because not only are you going to be capturing, I mean, like, obviously you'll have to sign an agreement or whatnot, but you're not only going to be capturing content for the couple, but you can then use that content to promote yourself. So you can be shooting loads of behind the scenes stuff, because content creation and like what they're going to be providing, it is literally going to be behind the scenes stuff. You're not really going to get a content creator, in my view anyway, that like I've read about and seen a couple before. Content creators aren't going to be the ones that are going to be walking around posing the couples and whatnot. They're just going to be getting the behind the scenes footage. So if as a photographer or a videographer, you do add that package on, you're going to be like doing some great stuff for your marketing, aren't you? Because you're going to have so much content to add for yourself as well for the behind the scenes footage. I mean, like as we said on the previous video, I put a GoPro on my strap and I literally just press record, and I filmed. I think you were second shooting for me, actually. It was the day before, so there was two weddings. It was like an English wedding and a Hindu wedding for the same couple, like two separate days. I think you filmed on the second day, didn't you? I can't remember now.
Yeah, the kind of English part of it, I think, yeah.
Yeah. You filmed the first day then. So I attached a GoPro to my chest and like photographed like the bride revealing herself. That doesn't sound right, does it? The bride showing her dress to her bridesmaids for the first time, yeah. And like some quick portrait shots and like hair and makeup and whatnot. And I chucked that, and I don't use TikTok, but I chucked it on TikTok, and it got like 10,000 views, and I actually got a booking
Really?
from that one video of a behind the scenes. No one saw me. It was basically, you could see my camera, like point of view shooting. You could see my camera, and like I just put a few photos flicking up of, like, I've taken that photo, that's the end result. Now I carry on around the corner, taking another photo, that's that result. Do you know what I mean?
So and this is what I'm now doing at every wedding.
Yeah,
I'm basically, I've got this 360 camera, and I'm just I don't know what I'm going to do with it exactly, but I'm filming behind the scenes clips at every wedding.
Yeah,
mainly because I know that that's what seems to be working for people.
Yeah,
and so it's not just a copy thing, but it's something that I genuinely wanted to do anyway. But then I've seen other people doing it, and I'm like, oh well, it's working for them, so I might as well.
Yeah. I think that's going to be very similar to how the content creators are going to be doing things as well. Obviously, they're not going to be walking around with a camera taking photographs. They're going to be using like a phone. I'm assuming they'll probably be using some sort of phone to be able to upload the images and videos onto socials quickly, or an iPad or whatnot. But
so like, because we've talked about phones being used, like we've talked about, could you shoot a wedding on an iPhone 15 because the tech is that good now? You know, the sort of hardware software combination of what's in an iPhone now is that good. Could you create like a decent? I'm not gonna say it's going to be as good as the kind of pro level cameras that we use, but you could put something decent together, I reckon. And that's what we've talked about previously.
I honestly, I think you could put something pretty special together.
So where's the line then? Where's the line between? I know you're going to say about a short clip. You know, this content creator is going to focus more on short clips and social media reels, things like that. But where is the line then between what we create and what somebody else might like? Can you imagine if like a content creator came into the wedding where you've been hired as the professional videographer, but what if the stuff that they're creating actually looks like as good as your stuff, but they're doing it on an iPhone 15? Because if you're shooting cinematic mode and you know what you're doing, some of that footage can look super smooth, super professional, can't it?
Mm-hmm.
I know there'll be people that listen to this that are going, spitting the fucking tea out, going, what? No, it doesn't. But unfortunately, it does. Like, I take stuff for the kids all the time on my iPhone in cinematic mode or in portrait mode for photos, and I'm like I don't think that's much different between my Sony A1 and a fucking $2,000 lens.
I know. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In the right light. So you could, if you were just like getting the video shots. Obviously, I don't know how it'd go on with setting up for a ceremony and filming for a Catholic ceremony on an iPhone. I mean, that probably won't work out for you. The iPhone's probably going to set on fire. I don't know, but
I don't know. I think I honestly think that I don't know. I think talking about trends and all that, it could if content creators are starting to come into the scene and they are using phones and whatnot, it could potentially send us down that little bit of a rabbit hole
I don't think it's going to change. I don't think it's going to take over from professional videographers or professional photographers. What I'm interested in, you know, because content creation at the moment is a separate thing. I'm just interested in, because we talked about hybrid.
Yeah.
How, you know, that wasn't necessarily well received at the start, and now a lot more photographers are adding video into packages.
Yeah.
I've seen videographers adding photo into packages. So when the content creators come in, and then actually what they're able to create with a phone is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, like where do the lines?
Yeah.
You know,
that's a tricky question.
I haven't worked with a content creator, so I don't know what it's like having that extra person there.
Yeah. I mean,
I know what
for me,
like if there's 4 of you doing photo and videos in, like, if you work with a photographer where they've got 2 of them and you've got 2 of them doing video, it gets crowded.
Have you ever worked at like a venue where like one of the coordinators or the staff have got the phone? Like I was at a venue not long ago, a barn, and they were doing like a sparkler tunnel like out on the outside, and right behind my shoulder was the coordinator with the phone walking backwards, and we're almost like tripping up over each other. And she was fighting. She wanted that shot, and she wanted. It was almost like battling with like a videographer that was inexperienced. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like rather than talking to each other and saying, "I'm going to be here, I'm going to be there." So I think it'll be a little bit like that to start with, especially like with the content creators that are coming into the industry knowing that they're going to get a good amount of money and they've not got experience in weddings. I think initially they're going to have to learn like how to work with photographers and videographers, and I can see photographers and videographers getting pissed off with them.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe
I mean, like
why
there was a comment not long ago
why we should embrace them a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Because rather than having that like what you do in here type thing, I think that's actually counterproductive to everybody. Because if we embrace them, then we can help guide through that day the way that we would normally shoot it.
There's a lot of people in the industry that are very precious about being the only person with the camera in that area and whatnot, aren't they? So it's something they're going to have to turn around, because I think it's going to happen more and more often, or they're going to have to start offering it themselves so they don't get this problem. But yeah.
But it's only the same as like a photographer. So if I'm just doing video and the photographer's shooting phone content on top of the camera all day,
it's pretty much.
It's only the same in a way, isn't it? Although you haven't got the extra person there.
Yeah. I mean, like the only difference is like the content creator actually like uploading stuff that day. Which in a way for the photographer and the videographer kills a little bit the excitement of the way the photos and whatnot, because they're gonna see like some behind the scenes and some insights into how things are looking almost the same day, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's almost going to be a bit of a anticlimax having professional photos and videos delivered. I can imagine, anyway.
But it's almost already like that, the last couple of years. Like the photographers getting videos of the confetti or the first kiss or whatever it is, and dropping that because it's on the phone. It's quick to turn around. They're dropping that before you can even put like a little teaser trailer out.
Yeah.
Or any of your video content if you're doing video, and vice versa. I suppose the videographers pulling stills off their video and putting them on Instagram because they need the content. And it's quicker. Yeah, and it's quicker than doing. It's quicker than doing. That film might take weeks to turn around, whereas they can get those stills pulled off straight away. Yeah. So those boundaries are blurred because of those types of situations. And I just sort of think, is it going to, will the presence of like content creation at weddings and like this additional service and this additional person, if you like, or even all the other people from the makeup artists to the venue coordinators and all the rest of it, all getting their own content and all putting it out there on Instagram straight away. Yeah. I've had it at nearly every single wedding I've done recently.
It's big now.
I'm one of the last people to get anything out. And I'll tell you, one of my weddings at the weekend, I'd normally do, probably shouldn't even say this on here. I normally do like, I was doing photo and video and I normally do some sneak peeks the day after type stuff, like most of us will. And by the time, and I kind of know this bride as well, like personally, and she's a friend. And the day after the wedding, like I'd had like 2 weddings on the bounce, and the day after the wedding, she'd just her whole social media was just full of photos from her. And I just sent her a message saying, look, I don't have a massive backlog at the moment. I'm going to try and turn your wedding round as quick as I can, but I'm not going to send you any sneak peeks because you've literally you've got photos already of the entire day. So anything I send you now, you've already seen it. So I just said, I just feel like it'd be more special if I just put everything together that I've got so that you get to see how I captured the entire day in one go. And you're only going to have to wait a week or 2. It's not going to take ages. Yeah. And she was cool with it. Whether she really was cool with it or not, I don't know. But yeah, that's just what I decided.
That's a fair call, yeah. I mean, it is getting that way, isn't it? that everyone is posting. I mean, like, you do get some weddings now where they say don't post on socials and whatnot. But I mean, I did go to a wedding, how many, maybe beginning of this year, and bridemaid was literally her content creator for the day, walking around. She was uploading to the bride's social media and whatnot, so she was acting as a content creator. So that's the other issue, isn't it? Is whether, although it's going to be a trend, whether they're going to be getting professionals in to do it that hopefully will work well together, or they're just going to use the bridesmaid, which is nice, but I think the problem is sometimes when you're using someone that's so close and personal to you, there's no boundaries, is there? So it's very difficult for the bridesmaid not to take or try and take control of all the situations, which then creates a bit of an issue for what you're trying to achieve.
We've all met those bridesmaids that are like, yeah, you should do the photo here. You know, why are you doing it like that? You know, we've all met those. So but do you know what? I think it's happening.
Yeah.
And just like photographers not embracing videographers years ago.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly the same thing.
It doesn't lead to any. It's going to happen, and so it's better to build those working relationships. And
exactly. Well, if you look in the past, like photographers and videographers were like worst enemies, but these days they're collaborating because they need a photographer needs a videographer to get all these bookings, and a videographer needs the photographer to get all the bookings, and vice versa, don't they? So it's come that way around, doesn't it? And I think the same will probably happen with the content creation and whatever else comes our way. But so that's content creation. What other trends have you got wrote down in your little black book of
of notes I made while I read it? Well, while we're at it, because this is the How to Shoot Hybrid podcast, we might as well talk about the fact that hybrid. So and again, we touched on it briefly in the last episode in the context of making extra money and generating more revenue. But I do think that because of the kind of content creation becoming more popular, and basically just like content, you know, everybody just wants content. I'll be honest, it's a totally different discussion for another day, but how much freaking content people can want and need and put out there.
Yeah.
At some point, the bubble must pop. As in, like, people putting everything about their lives out there, and all of us feeling like we need to be posting stuff just to keep in front of people's faces if we're running a business, or if it's just a personal perspective, the kind of sharing of everything that's happening in your life.
Yeah.
So at some point, this bubble's got to burst, because it can't carry on getting more and more and more, surely. But for now, if we just sort of say, content creation is happening, and that is becoming a more popular thing, a more popular service that people want at weddings, how does that, you know, like, I've noticed more photo and video bookings as a combo, and inquiries certainly with that. So, like, do you see that, increasing even more?
Oh, 100%.
So is it going to be relevant?
I think if you look from, when did I start offering hybrid? I think we probably started doing it around the same time, didn't we?
Yeah.
I don't think we were too far between, were we? What was it, 4 years ago? I can't remember quite now.
I did my first photo and video wedding back in 2018.
Yeah.
And I think I did 2 that year.
Yeah.
And then probably 4 the year after, and then probably 6 the year after that. And then, like, this year, I'd say it's half photo and video and half video. It's more than half photo and video and half video now.
But on the other side, on the flip side of that, when we first started doing it, I can't count on more than one hand the amount of people in the UK that I knew of that was offering hybrid photography as a solo. I couldn't really. I knew a handful. I'm sure there was more, but it wasn't really a massive thing, was it? And, like, even when, like, mentioning it to people, they were like, "What you want? What do you mean you can all do it all yourself? Why you should have 2 people, surely?" But I think the trend is coming quite quickly in now. Like 4 or 5 years later, there's like seminars of how to shoot photo and film as a solo. Do you know what I mean? Like there's big courses that people travel to all around the world to explain how to do it, because these people know that eventually everyone's going to be in on this and they're going to want to do it, aren't they?
And who knows, Kieran, maybe one day people will be able to come to one of our courses to learn how to do it.
Yes. Coming soon. Yeah. But yeah, well, that's a good plug-in, isn't it? Yeah. But, you know, honestly, like it's compared to now, like I could count maybe 4 or 5 people 5 years ago. And just in my area alone now, I bet there's at least 20, 25. And that's just in like North Yorkshire.
Do you think there's that many?
Oh,
like
yeah,
doing
100%.
it solo?
I can count.
Do you think this sounds a bit bitchy, but do you think they're any good?
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, are we any good, Jules? Who knows? I don't know. But
I don't know. It's subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what I mean is I think that you know,
yeah,
there's a learning curve to it.
There is a learning
curve.
At
the start, you're not going to be as good as you are if you've been doing it a while.
No. So actually, during the pandemic, you know this, Jules. I created a how to shoot videography for photographers. So it wasn't a course on how to shoot hybrid. It was just more of a course of you're a photographer. How do you just convert the skills into video? So quite a few people booked onto that course, and I know a handful of them in the area that do shoot that. And I think actually,
and I know who they are as well, right? Because I can just I guess who they are, but yeah.
After
you did really well out of that.
After the podcast, I'd be intrigued to see your guesses. See who booked on. That'd be cool. That'd be interesting to see. Anyway, we might even, me and you might even get together and convert that into something more, even maybe how to shoot hybrid, like a proper course or something. But
I think that without labouring the point of like plugging what we might do in the future, but like I think that me and you, we're both keen on doing kind of educational stuff, and I think that we, between us, we've got different kind of strengths and weaknesses that would work brilliantly together in terms of offering a course. So yeah.
But anyway, back to the hybrid side of it. Yeah, I think compared to 5 years ago, it's almost tripled, if not quadrupled, the amount of people doing it now. So give it a couple more years. I think the problem with it is, and people aren't going to like it, but because like a third of the industry, maybe not even a third, but because a good chunk of the industry now are offering hybrid photography, videography, it's too competitive. People are losing out money not having that package,
not offering it. Yeah,
not offering it. So they're going to have to, if they want to keep up, they're going to have to offer it in some way or another, whether that's doing it solo, or I know a couple of people that have kind of teamed up together to offer photo and film at like a slightly better rate than you normally would get, just to kind of compete with the solo hybrid shooters. But
yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like it would be, you could say, why have we even got this podcast where we're almost letting people in on some of the secret of how to do stuff, or why would you do education around it and teach other people? Why would you not feel like that you're kind of somehow gonna you're going to cause yourself a problem as a business by sharing with your competitors and strengthening what they can do, what they can offer? But at the end of the day, it's going to happen.
It is going to happen,
whether you're involved or not. It's that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
When I started doing hybrid, again, it was a business decision. It's grown into more of something I really like and really believe in, and I think I'm offering something really good to the couples who want that. I think there's something really beneficial in it for them. I really believe in it as a product.
Yeah.
And I'm not selling it as the same as focusing just on video, focusing just on photo. But I think it's a product that people want. I think they want both. And I think that just like the style of traditional wedding photography isn't really a thing anymore, and wedding photography is modernized and gone in a different direction. Video, adding video into it is just the same. As far as I'm concerned, it's the same as how it modernized from traditional wedding photography.
Yeah.
And now video is just going to become part of that.
I think so, yeah. And I think couples, even now, I don't think video's the first thing on their lists. I think photos still above, even though like video is definitely creeping up to almost like on par with. I still think photos like the top of the list thing to book: venue, caterers, photographer. I think they're pretty much top of the list. I might maybe missing one or two there, but if you're offering videography as well, they might not actually be looking for a videographer, but they might like your photography work, and we love your work. Can we have your packages and prices? Oh, hang on a minute, they do video as well. Like it's kind of like they don't.
It's a no-brainer then.
I think a lot of people don't come to me initially. Well, actually, maybe 50-50, but I think a lot of people that just want photo end up booking photo and video with me anyway, because it's just there in the package. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you're not offering it, they could potentially be going elsewhere.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I think as well, mate. I think it's a you don't have to do it. If you feel like you're just offering photo, you're just offering video, and you're strong, and you don't need to. No one's forcing you. No one's saying you have to do that. But what you're doing is you're making yourself more hireable.
100%.
And I don't think that if I'm just focusing on video, I think that I'm probably going to produce a slightly better video than if I'm doing photo and video.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the products that I'm producing when I'm doing photo and video aren't good enough to be charging what I'm charging for it.
Yeah.
And the great thing is for a long time, I was really confused about what to charge for just photo, just video, and then photo and video. But I do feel like more recently, I can basically charge quite a lot of money for just video, and I'm getting booked for that.
Yeah.
And then I can but then I can basically do photo and video and get the same money or more money. Do you know what I mean? To me, it's not about like if the couple wants that and I'm being straight up about what they're going to get, and they're happy with that and they want that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm happy. It's going to be a similar amount of work.
You're there on the day capturing the same thing, photo, same thing, video. It's not 100%, but you're not far off. It's not far off. You're there anyway.
I'm there anyway. There isn't going to be like when if I'm doing a solo photo and video package, I am offering. I'm not offering the same coverage as if I was just doing video with two people, for instance. It's totally different, and so it's not as many photos and it's not as long a video, but it's a nice balance that for some people that's exactly what they want. They don't need 1,000 photos, and they don't need a 20-minute video.
No, and again as well, like there's other ways like of getting around taking the pressure off yourself, isn't there? So I mean, like these days, to make it easy for me, if someone books hybrid, the photo video package, I will try and like sell them a second shooter as well, just so I can kind of just
that makes
chill,
your life
chill out a little bit more. Like it's not needed, but it does make my life that little bit easier. Like I can just relax that little bit more. So I mean, even if there's people out there that are thinking of shooting hybrid, maybe learn, or if you don't know how to shoot video already, learn how to shoot video. It's not far off the same technical. How do you say it, Jules? Technicalities. There we go. It is. It's nearly 10 o'clock, guys. It's nearly 10 o'clock.
We'll just call it doing stuff.
It's the
same. It's the same stuff.
Doing stuff. There's only like little bits of issues, which maybe we'll another podcast like like Flickr and all that stuff to try and like reduce whatnot, but banding. But apart from that, it's quite similar, isn't it? Really. So do it and get yourself a second shooter on board for that little bit of extra confidence, and just keep practicing at it. We're kind of going off topic again, aren't we? Here, but
yeah, but like as well, you can offer video, you can offer photo, so you don't have to do them together. You can just
no,
say,
you don't.
well,
That's very true.
I do photo or I do video, but
Yeah.
I've already doubled the stuff I can get hired for, and
Yeah.
and so as a trend, I see that as a growing trend because why not?
Yeah.
You know, and it's not a case of whether it doesn't really matter what we think.
No.
It's happening. Like you already said, you know all these people that got your course in the pandemic, and
well, not only that, like just people jumping on it, aren't they?
And we all know, like there are so many people now, so many photographers in particular. There's not as many videographers offering photo, although there are some, but there are, you know, every week almost there's another photographer offering video.
Yeah, there definitely
so it's
is.
happening. It's you can't resist it.
No, and like if you're not wanting to go down the route of offering videography, I'd definitely recommend joining up with a videographer to work together, because you're going to be really not going to be doing yourself any favors in the near future if you've only got one package. Whereas you might be able to work together and ask the videographer to white label or something to your brand or whatnot, and you get the bookings, I can provide this. The only difficulty is with this, because I've thought about this in the past and I can't quite get my head around it, is having the same calendar. Like, what happens if the videographer is getting booked up on the dates that someone's inquiring and whatnot? You're almost going to have yourself. This is why it's easy just to learn it yourself, I think. And one of the reasons I did just crack on and do it myself. You're going to have to find yourself a pot of videographers to be able to.
There's other issues as well, isn't there, to do with like how much you both charge, how much you both want to make out of it.
Yeah,
there's all sorts of like things to iron out.
Isn't it? It is difficult. It's a difficult one to go down. But I mean, like, I know people that have done it, so it is possible. It's possible to, if you find the right person that's going to work well with you and they're happy to share the calendar and whatnot and hold out for each other's bookings, then it could work quite well. But yeah, it's just one of them things you've got to iron out a little bit, really.
There's a caveat as well. I just wanted to kind of drop in that I think it's market based a little bit, like the kind of middle market. I think this works really well in. I think like the luxury market, which 99% of people can't really be working in because there isn't enough luxury weddings compared to the amount of typical weddings. So like the luxury weddings probably will still have that dedicated people, for now, because
definitely.
But like I even see then, planners and people who are organizing those weddings wanting to make life easy and keep that consistency and keep that straightforward, simple approach, knowing what they're going to get with the team that they hire. So I'm not saying they're going to have a solo hybrid shooter at a luxury wedding.
No, I don't know.
Because they've got the budget to have a massive team, but they might hire a team. There are plenty of photography and videography studios, or like studios that kind of cover. Who knows, mate? It might all be called fucking content in 5 years' time. It might not be photo and video. It might be, if we're talking about what's next, it might just be, I need content. So anything visual, anything visual, gets referred to as content.
So getting back on the trend route bit, which kind of ties in with this. I've noticed, and I've been talking to a few of us, like quite recently about it, is the style in edit. Have you noticed a change in the trend? Because
so this is one of the things I had on my list. Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Hey, I'm coming up with them. So I've noticed, and I'm sure that a lot of people listening will have noticed as well, that the editing style these days is becoming very minimal, and it's almost as it looks straight out of camera. There's not much change. I mean, like, I know some really, really high end wedding photographers that their photos practically look like what my photo produces straight out of camera. And it's
and wouldn't that be a great workflow? I've even been thinking
oh
about
my
this the last
God.
few days.
I mean, like, to be honest with you, like, mine isn't far. I have really limited the amount of edits I actually do on a photo now. But I still do drop like my own preset and whatnot on there. And you know what? I think in a way, sometimes I think I'm doing it just because I feel
You
like
want to see, you want to do.
that's
It's
what
like that you haven't done your job properly if you haven't done
exactly,
something to
yeah,
the photo.
exactly. But then like I'm looking at these guys and they charge like double, triple the amount that I charge. Like they're like down London and like travel the world and whatnot. And like they literally do look like the straight out camera. And I can't quite get my head around how it's got this way. And I really like it. I think it's really nice to see everything just pure natural. But I can't see I can't see how you get to that stage. Do you know what I mean? Like
Like,
if I
so
took
for
them
me,
photos and didn't edit them and delivered them to my couple, maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but I feel like they'd be like, "Oh, they don't look like your photos before." I mean, like it's something you'd have to.
like we've talked about, if you could just deliver black and white, how
Oh
you'd be
yeah,
like really happy. Like if you
yeah,
could just like make a style and someone would go for it. That everything I do is black and
yeah,
white.
mm-hmm.
And the reason I think that is appealing is because I like black and white aesthetic,
Yeah,
as I think you probably do. And I'd say like a third of the photos I deliver in a gallery are black and white anyway.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
because I chose to make them black and white because that's what I felt like that image worked best for that image.
yeah.
But but if you just delivered black and white, you wouldn't have to worry about the inconsistencies in color that you get
Exactly. Yeah,
at weddings. That's the difference between studio work, portraiture,
yeah,
and then weddings and events. Weddings and events, particularly a wedding where you're loads of different locations and some of the most shit lighting conditions that you can possibly imagine in
yeah,
some of these wedding venues. And you don't have a choice but to try and edit your way out of that because there is no
yeah, yeah.
setting on
You're
your
right. Yeah,
camera where you're like,
yeah,
yeah, this looks right in some of those shots, like with the mixed lighting and everything.
yeah.
So it's hard to
But
shoot at
say
weddings
it is
like
really
that.
hard. It is hard to shoot that. But saying that, like, and I think still on the same trend topic, like I've noticed as well, people aren't really using flash to fill in like the shadows and whatnot on faces. So
Hmm.
like the bride might have her face slightly lit, and then the groom looks quite. You can't really see many features on his face because it's quite dark. Yet they're posting these pictures out and
Okay,
getting
so
away
what's
with it.
your
Like
thoughts
it's
on that?
people enjoy it.
What's your
I
thoughts on that?
personally, I personally like it. I don't mind it. I think it's. I kind of want the natural. My other thought is that the skills kind of been removed a little bit as well, though. That's my only. That's my only qualm, and I think that's kind of why I don't do it. Is because I feared that people are going to think, "Well, what have you done? You've taken a photo in a room with their backs against the window, and there's no light on the face. What's the skill in that? Like you've not even thought about your shot there, but." People are posting it and people are liking it. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah, but
not
that's
last year, the year
probably
before,
that's a
but
really odd trend, isn't it? Sorry, mate. I'll let you finish.
yeah,
Go on.
yeah. No, no, no. Well, it's kind of, the year before I recreated my preset, and on Instagram I kind of did it to get my couple's feedback, so my followers' feedback, and I put which one do you like better, A, B, or C, and they all had like different tweaks. And I remember, and I don't, you know what, I don't know why I didn't go with like what they said, but not everyone, but the majority of people on each preset, bearing in mind like my presets are pretty minimal, there's not a massive change in them, but the majority of people said they liked, I don't know, C on photo one and B on photo two, but they all ended up like being very much out of camera photos. There was no edit to them. So the majority
Right.
of people were picking unedited photographs. And I'm thinking, bloody hell, why am I spending 2 weeks of tweaking photographs and stuff like that when actually they like them straight out of camera?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So just on you, because you were saying before about the kind of technical side not being important or appearing to be not as important with what people are kind of posting and what seems to be popular. Like what you said you liked it. So what does that mean? Like I know certainly so if I go back, I'm brand new and I'm focusing on videography at the time. And obviously I was listening to lots of stuff around videography and trying to learn a lot about how like the big hitters in the videography world were doing video, trying to learn from them. And then I started to sort of think, right, I'm going to incorporate photo. So started to learn more about photo. And obviously the thing at the time, this is 2017, 2018-ish, 2019 maybe.
Yeah.
I was kind of becoming quite obsessed with the technical side of photography because there were people who were, respected, who would really rip into the fact that people didn't know what they were fucking doing when it came to lighting, when it came to technically getting a balanced photo with lighting, So I kind of took that. I kind of took that on board, and I spent probably most of the time me work. Like I always found posing really hard, and I always found the kind of feeling comfortable around the photo stuff hard because I think I was overthinking it technically. I was like, technically, I can't take this photo here because the lighting shit. It's going to look bad. I'm going to look like a shit photographer if I take this photo here and then they use that photo on Instagram or whatever, Facebook. It's going to look bad for me. So I can't take the photo here because I'll deliver it and it'll look shit. Now that stuff's more instinctive. So I'm not thinking about that too much. I am thinking more about the creative and about the kind of like just being a decent photographer and a decent guy at the wedding. But certainly I've worried about it a lot. And you're basically saying, so I do look at those photos sometimes and I'm like, sometimes the photos are of nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not even sure why that photo probably wouldn't even make the gallery.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is it for me. Like, so that photo I described about like the back's against the window, like faces not lit, everything like technically wasn't correct yet. They posted it and I liked it. But would I post that? I don't know if I would, for the fear that people would not understand what I was trying to achieve. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because well, so where I kind of shifted is I started to just go, okay, this was more of a brand decision as well. And I'm going on a completely different tangent, but like the way that my brand developed over the last few years was I can't really compete on certain things because I don't truly feel that way or believe in that. What I do believe is like people's memories. So if I take a photo and the lighting's a bit shit and the composition's not perfect and it's in a bit of a crap location, maybe someone's got a funny look on the face.
Yeah.
But I know it's a really important moment and it tells the story.
Yeah.
Then that's a good photo.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's the difference, isn't it? It's like that's where I think it's gone.
Yeah.
It's more it's more loose. What is a good photo?
Yeah,
is not necessarily what
loose,
used to be a good photo.
Yeah, I think people are coming away from what's technically a good photo. I don't think people are as affected by that these days, are they?
Well, if we look at say like the editorial style, that's kind of the most popular trend, if you like, of wedding photography at the moment. Like years ago, it were off-camera flash.
Yeah,
like that was kind of like all of the popularity was around those like wow photos of amazing skies in the background because they were using off-camera flash to fill in the couple and get the exposure right for the background and backlighting stuff and really creative type shots. I'm not saying that no one's doing those anymore. I just mean that they were really big a few years ago.
Yeah, they were.
And they're less popular now. And it's this kind of editorial style, and people are using like on-camera flash, popping it straight at people. They're not even bouncing it, stuff that would have not been considered the right way to do it 5, 6, 7 years ago. But as well, it goes with that thing of like just capturing it as it is.
Yeah.
We're not overly posing. We're not trying to influence it too much.
So do you think like this trend of unposed soft edit, I'll call it, or unedited practically, do you think that's a trend through all the different like price brackets and whatnot? So like luxury weddings, your middle ground weddings, your lower end weddings. Do you think that's a trend throughout all, or do you think still like quite? I think like back in the day when I first started out, I was like pretty heavy on the edits, and I was charging quite little, and I got loads of bookings that way. Do you think still they're kind of, they've got different views? Do you know what I mean? Have people with different like experiences and different like price brackets and whatnot, have they got different styles? And are they going to stick, and are their trends going to stay the same, or are they going to change as well? Do you see what I mean?
It's a tough one because like I think generally, and it's not every single when you talk about a trend, it's never going to be every single photographer and every single videographer. It's a trend that affects the most of the market. You know, like it's not. There's still going to be people doing it different ways, however they want to do it. But like the most popular thing that you see is like that trend, and we're definitely in that trend across the board. Whichever. Think about it. The kind of editorial stuff comes from fashion photography mainly. It comes from your Vogue. Comes from your kind of more luxury end. Once that becomes cool, then it filters down. It got used a lot in kind of styled shoot type stuff, and that styled shoot started to influence what was really happening. And then we're in the place where it's now happening in people's weddings. People are like, I've seen this and I want this. And then that's in the main middle mass market now, and maybe in the lower end market as well. You know, it's actually easier to do that. Like if you think about, and I'm not like kind of, I'm not like saying that that's not a hard type of photography, but when you think about like the off-camera flash stuff, that takes a lot more technical knowledge, takes extra equipment, takes extra time to do that shit. Whereas the kind of editorial style, it's much easier for a new photographer to learn that as a style and to kind of like nail that really.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will just go down that route because it'll be a bit more of a comfort zone for them rather than having off-camera flash and relying on it and stuff like that. You've got everything on you, haven't you? So if something goes wrong, you can, rather than being like middle of ceremony shit, I need to go, or speeches, I need to go and sort that off-camera flash in the corner because it's not triggering enough or whatnot. I think, I think for comfort zones, people would, I can see why they'd go down that editorial style and whatnot. Yeah, I can see that.
So what do you think? What do you think's the next one? What do you think is like? What do you think will be next? We've got the editorial. What do you think? What do you think is the next trend, if you like, or hot area for photography and even video? Because like I like the kind of blurry photo, the kind of shutter drag photo stuff. But I'm not talking about dance floor, but the stuff where people
I know exactly what you mean, like motion blur almost.
Yeah, so I've started using. I'm not going to use it on every video because that's not really how I kind of do. I won't do it on everything, but like I've tried it on some videos.
Yeah.
And I actually love the way it worked out. It kind of it gave an extra flavor to it. So, but what do you think is the next?
The next trend, man, I'm not really a trendsetter, so you're probably asking the wrong person here, Jules. The next trend in photography / videography and weddings. I don't know. It'll be something. I think it's just going to be. I think it's just going to be another way of like edit style or the flash. I think something to do with flash might be a new trendsetter. I'm not 100%. What do you think? I don't really know.
Like a drone flash, like a drone
flash.
It's off-camera flash, but it's coming from a drone.
Wow, bloody hell!
Flash.
That's
just me being a bit crazy.
That is interesting, Jules. I'd be intrigued to see what that's like. I don't know. I think I don't know. I suppose in a way, like the suppliers in the industry are going to be are going to be setting the trends, aren't they? So it depends on like what packages and whatnot they offer. So I honestly, I really like the idea, and I haven't seen it often, but I like the idea of people like we discussed in the previous episode about like packages and add-ons and whatnot, like interviews with couples. I think that could be a pretty nice trend to have.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That after doing the one that I did the other day in the lakes, obviously it was just a small elopement, so it was different to a full blown wedding. But after doing that the other day, I liked it so much that I was like, because I actually already have a thing in my questionnaires about do you want to do an interview, and you know, 9 times out of 10 people are like, no way.
What you want about?
But you know, I kind of feel like you get what you put out there. So if I put more of that out there, then hopefully you get more of that back. And I think it's a really nice way of telling a more
I like it.
interesting personal story than
I mean, like ultimately, who's going to tell us the next trend is going to be TikTok, isn't it?
We should just be on TikTok, like scouring for trends, shouldn't we?
Something's going to happen. Remember, like, this is my first drink, this is my last drink. All this sort of stuff. Like people, like I've seen photographers now offering to film these shots.
What, of the photographer doing my first drink and last drink?
No,
this is how good the first photos
yeah.
This is how good
this is how shit the last ones are. Yeah. No, the photographer actually saying, "I'll film and put on your TikTok and whatnot. This is my first shot. This is my last shot, or my first drink, my last drink." So there'll be other crazy trends like that.
If that's actually something you can sell to people, then you can literally sell freaking anything, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
You could
so
be
I don't know. There'll be some.
I mean, like, you know, there are people that'll do like bridal boudoir sessions, and they'll, you know, obviously engagement shoots and adventure sessions, and I mean, there's so many things that you could be like, oh, can I come on honeymoon with you?
Yeah. You know what? I do often try that one with my couples, and I haven't got anywhere with it yet, but that'd be so great, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
But I mean, so we're talking about like the style of photos. I don't know if you saw, there was some photos on Instagram the other day that were, you know, getting reposted left, right, and center of like an Italian scene. It was like a AI generated.
I was literally just about to say AI. Yeah.
So how do you see that? Like, we won't talk about it.
You know what?
It's a massive area. I think we don't want to wrap this up.
Yeah, it is a massive area. I think, you know what? I think AI is going to become a trend, and I think people are going to use it, and I think it's almost going to screw the industry up a little bit. In my view, that I can see, because I think people are going to abuse it.
Yeah,
and they're going to be putting the couples in these, I don't know, scenarios and locations that just don't exist.
They can just create. Yeah, they just take a photo at a wedding and then create something completely made up
bizarre out of it, stood by waterfalls or whatever they want. But like, I don't know. I think it's gonna disrupt the industry quite a lot. That, and I think it's also going to be a nightmare, to be honest with you. Because I think couples are going to expect even more, and I think couples with a budget
getting ready at some shit location and then saying, "I want to be on a beach in Hawaii.
I want to be in a luxury hotel with."
I mean, this is like
views,
literally
volcanoes bursting.
Yeah, this is the same as like dinosaurs and chasing them in the background. You know, like the early days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're going to go. I think they're going to go over the top with it all. I mean, like I did see someone post it. I don't think it was the same clip, but like they were basically in their back garden, and in the back garden there was a little like arch, but like AI created it, so like they were in the jungle, and like there was this tribal arch that had been created. Like it just created something out of pretty much nothing, and it was a great photograph actually. But like I think people are going to get carried away with it, and I can't really see the I can't see why people will, but I know they will go down that route, because why would you want something that you know wasn't there? Do you know what I mean? If you wanted to get married by a beach and you want your photos to look like you got married by a beach, go and get married by a beach. Don't ask someone to.
But you can't guarantee the weather.
Look, I'm arguing over something that's not actually quite happened yet, but I know it will. It is gonna happen, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna. I think at that point is when I'll probably bow down and be like, I'm out of here. See you later.
That's it.
I'm gonna check out. Yeah. I'm not interested. I wouldn't be interested in that stuff. I understand it if like it's. I'm not done with the kids on that stuff now. I can kind of understand it for tweaks in photos to make them technically better and whatnot.
Yeah.
But to create something out of nothing is going to be bizarre. I'm not quite sure on that. And I think as well, like they'll be seeing, they'll want to create themselves to be someone not as well. I don't think it's even going to be the scene. I think it's going to be them. They're going to be like, oh, can you take some? Can you make my arms look a bit skinny? You know, like people. I mean, they don't really do it. I've had one or two people in the 10 odd years I've been doing it ask for stuff like that. But I think the easier it gets, and the more people start using that, because there are going to be photographers out there that are going to be using these and creating the best photo that they possibly can to promote themselves and sell themselves. Like people are going to start wanting to see more and more of that.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
And again, like it's going to be like false advertisement. There's going to be photographers with no experience. They've taken one photo of a wedding and they've dropped that couple into, I don't know, Norway or Iceland or something like that on the photographs, and trying to do like destination weddings and screwing them up in reality, and like relying on AI, which I don't know how good AI is going to be, but is it going to get you out of all of the situations? I don't know, but I just think that the industry's going to go.
There's now like a thing, isn't there? There's a thing now coming in like on Instagram. I think it's like starting to happen on people's accounts now, where it's. I don't know if it's automatically recognizing it or you have to say whether it's been created by AI or not, but it's basically like tagging photos on Instagram as using AI or whatever. But like, so I used some generative fill. It's the first time I've had a go with it because I don't normally bother with all this shit. I just edit my photos, but the one I did in the lakes, we got these shots by the lake, and I just thought, wouldn't it be nice if I had like just a bit more of an epic background?
Yeah.
Like, because where we were,
I can understand it that way. Yeah.
So all I wanted was I wanted to make the shot, because I had a really nice shot of the couple that was real life. I hadn't, apart from doing like normal Lightroom tweaks to kind of bring the colors and stuff out, I hadn't done anything.
Yeah.
But I just thought I couldn't go any wider because there were boats and there were other stuff there in the way, right? And I just thought, what if behind them I just expanded it so it was a wider shot, and there was like there's that kind of mountains in the background.
Exactly. Yeah.
And because there were mountains in the background. So I did that, but that's technically going to be the same, isn't it? As really, really kind of like taking the piss and removing a couple into a different location.
Yeah, there's a limit to, isn't there? I think extending the scenery to pretty much the current scenery is okay, isn't it? Like adding a bit more of the lake in, adding some extra mountains in the background to make it that little bit more epic. I mean, I don't really see a massive issue with that. It's more the fact of if you're having a couple there and then you're going to be created to make it look like it's somewhere that it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're just creating more epicness out of the scenery that you've already got, I think that's pretty cool. The couple will probably appreciate that. I don't mind it. You know what? Actually, I think AI is either going to go one or two ways. I think people are going to jump on it and just be obsessed with it, like couples wise, and be obsessed with it and want ridiculous requests, or it's going to do us all a favor and they're going to be like, I don't want anything to do with that. I just want you to capture the day and it be as it is. I think it'll either be one or the other.
And you'll probably advertise and brand yourself as you're either an AI photographer, and it's almost like kind of like ultra fine art. I'm going to basically paint a picture.
Yeah.
I'm not taking a photo. I'm creating a piece of work here that is not necessarily going to represent what really happened. And then there's the documentary photographer, and they'll be able to be the two camps, really.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Yeah, I don't think. I'd be intrigued to see which way it goes, really.
Okay, right. Last one quickly.
Go on.
This is let's do this quick. I just want your honest, quick opinion on it. Using film, so not shooting digital, shooting film at weddings. Big trend at the moment. I think it is. I've seen probably a third of photographers will bring a film camera with them when I'm doing video.
I've been there, done that. Got the t-shirt.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like it. I don't mind it. I don't think there's any problem with it. I think for me, I wouldn't risk. Well, for a couple of reasons, I wouldn't do it solely just film, because first of all, it'd cost an absolute fortune, and then you'd have to like the couple that have to
pass that on,
wouldn't you? And it's a lot of money. The risk is slightly higher, I'd say, wouldn't you? In actually getting it right. Although, you know what, I learned photography on film, so I should feel confident in it. But I think the fact that now digital has been around for so long, you've got
that safety net with it, haven't you?
You've got that safety net, haven't you? So when I was offering it, it was more for the. I know. To be fair, I know quite a few photographers that do it.
It's got to that time.
I know.
They do.
They do. And they do it mainly on the portraits. So they'll walk around digital camera all day long, taking the photographs, portraits. They will do digital, but they'll also get some film shots as film snaps as well.
You've got more time to get that right.
Give them the negatives, get them developed and whatnot. And I think they used to use Canadian Labs, I think it was called, and they used to send them a raw file of the negatives so they could edit them if they needed to, and then they can put them on the online gallery and whatnot as well. But yeah, I don't see a problem with it. I think it's a nice little trend. I used to do it. I got quite a few nice bookings from it. A lot of people that booked me from that were photographers themselves. So it kind of attracts that kind of clientele, doesn't it? It's more of the artistic-y, creative clientele. So in a way, if you want to market yourself to attract that type of client, I think it's a really good way to go.
Plus, it's kind of the anti-AI, isn't it? Whereas AI, it's actually, digital basically is there. It's just raw data. You can manipulate it however you want if you've got the right software. Whereas it's different. It's an analog, and it's kind of
I mean, to be honest with you,
I'm not fucking with this. This is what I got.
No, I absolutely love the look of film. I don't think you'll ever beat it. Even digital cameras, nowhere near. Even when you're putting your best film presets on, it doesn't match it at all.
Mm.
And there's a photographer. She solely shoots film. She doesn't shoot digital at all. The whole wedding, she'll just film. I don't know if you've worked with her before or not. We'll have a chat afterwards. But anyway, she shoots film, nothing else. And her photos are stunning. She doesn't really do any editing. I mean, the colours are just in there, aren't they? It's just stunning.
Great workflow.
I don't know. Yeah, in a way, it is. You're done, aren't you? Take the photos, send them off, get the digitals, and off you go. You're done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I haven't really pushed that route any more than I have. But I think it's more for me. It was the confidence of it. I was happy doing portraits and whatnot with people, but to do an entire day is risque, isn't it? It's a brave move. I mean, you've got to be bloody confident to shoot like that.
Yeah. Especially in the modern era where you're doing a doc, you are documenting the day. It's not just a traditional style where it's I'm gonna get 20, 30 photos of these family formals, some portraits, a couple of shots in the wedding ceremony, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But you see, for me, the reason it's never appealed to me is because I want to be able to do video as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't really fit into that workflow. and even like people are using kind of Super 8 cameras and stuff and doing like video with that. And I think, yeah, I can get the nostalgia and it's cool and stuff. But, and again, this isn't necessarily a popular view, this is just mine. But I'm like, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't actually capture the moment better than what I can do it on my digital.
No,
I could capture it on my phone better than you can on your Super 8 camera. So you know, I get the
think
aesthetic,
these days
but
it's more of a gimmick, isn't it? And it's more of a I can do this for you as well. And couples like, oh yeah, okay, fair. That's pretty cool. Something a little bit different that they've maybe not thought of. Yeah. Maybe not thought of, and they're just like, actually, this videographer or this photographer can provide some film and negatives for us, as well as the digitals. But this photographer is only doing the digitals. We like them both. Which one should we go for? They're about the same price.
They stand
I think we'll go with that one because he or she offers that little bit extra. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of where film lies for me. I think.
Yeah.
It's just it's just that gimmick to get that booking. That's kind of why I did it in the first place, is to
stand out.
Not even stand. I wouldn't even say stand out, because I think a lot of people do offer it these days, don't they? I think it is one of them things that. I think quite a few people do offer that. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that was a new trend or not. Is it going to go any further? I
don't think it's a new trend necessarily, but I think it's a trend that's grown. That's what I would say.
Oh, like, it's definitely grown.
I didn't see that many people offering it pre-pandemic. Now, I'd say, like I say, probably a third of the photographers I work with when I'm doing video have got a film camera of some sort, whether it's a Polaroid or whether it's an actual camera that they're going to get developed.
Maybe, and this is where everyone will switch off. Maybe me and you should set the new trend, and we'll promote free wedding photography / videography.
I know what you're going to say.
Shot on the iPhone.
Yeah. Well, do you know what, mate? It's people who push against. Like, it takes some people to push against what everybody thinks is a shit idea. Like, let's be honest, people have been shooting digital for the last 20 years, 10, 15, 20 years, right? And just like with videography, it used to be one thing, now it's what it is. And, you know, videography used to be shit, now it's cool. Everyone wants to do it. Mm-hmm. Even photographers want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Videographers were like, that's... You know, there was a particular type of person, particular type of work they were producing.
Yeah.
And now it's completely different. And it's like, if you think about it, digital cameras, photography became so popular. And now people are actually choosing to shoot on film to get some
it's bizarre, isn't it?
Stand out.
Yeah,
it's bizarre because yes, it might look, you might not be able to get the same look and feel from digital as you can with a film camera.
Yeah.
But when you think about the pain in the ass it is to kind of like, you know, expose everything correctly, get it developed, the cost involved, the fact that you can't shoot that many photos, it doesn't make any business sense doing it if you're thinking about it from like a macro perspective. You know, there's a niche to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
So like the fact that people are doing this stuff and it's popular and it's cool and everybody wants to do it, maybe we start shooting on an iPhone and in 10 years' time, that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah, bloody hell. Well, there you go. Let's do it, Jules. Next podcast.
Mic drop.
Next podcast will be how we failed at shooting a wedding on an iPhone. Or enter our come and sign up to our new course of how to film a wedding on an iPhone. Who knows? Honestly though, I would just.
We should do it. Let's do one for free. Let's do one for free.
Yeah, I'll do it.
And we'll you know, we can do it as an experiment. We'll do it for free.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, is someone going to let us loose on a decent wedding doing that? You know, like not knowing what they're going to get.
You know what? To be honest with you, I think there's quite a few people like last minute booking and stuff. I think we talked about last minute bookings and whatnot on the previous podcast, didn't we? Last minute bookings. I've had maybe one or two people saying like, we weren't really bothered about photographer, but we've got this extra cash lying around and we've decided actually we might as well have one to document the day. Yeah. You know, like now and again I do get them type of emails. So that's the type of couple. And like some of them, like one of them was getting married in Lake District, like nice little venue and stuff.
I'll tell you what,
I think there is people out there. I'm well up for it. I'd be so intrigued to see. I think I want to do it more for the fact that I'll just I'd be really intrigued to see what I could produce with it. I think it'd boost my creativity levels. I'd really get into it. And I don't know why. I don't know why a phone would make me. I think it's because I feel like I want to prove everyone wrong.
Because it's something different. Yeah, it's something different, and it's something that would get probably like people would turn their nose up at that. And so you wanna be able to go. It's a bit like hybrid.
Yeah.
To be honest, mate.
Maybe this is us. Maybe this is me just living my rebellious stage in life and just want to go against the grain a little bit. I don't know. I want to give it a go. I do want to give it a go.
Okay.
So if there's anyone out there listening, preferably UK based, because
we're not coming abroad for free.
Give us a shout.
Right, awesome podcast. Song of the week for this one is "Right Where I Belong" by Atlantic Runaway. It's kind of indie pop. It's a really uplifting track. It's vocal, but it's got an instrumental too. If you're looking for something that's kind of got a bit of a beat to it, which is just instrumental. But I think the vocal of it's really good. Like some vocal, tunes with words in and stuff can be a bit cheesy for people.
Yeah,
but I think this one's, it's a bit more. It could fit different people's styles, I think. So yeah,
give it a listen, Jules.
There we go, and we'll catch you on the next episode when we've shot a wedding on iPhone.
Yeah, yeah. Wish us luck.
See you later, dude.
Catch you later.
I take my heels into this dirt I love. I know that all I have is more than enough. These are the best days of my life. I'm right where I belong. Tall trees line these rolling hills I've driven by for ages. Streetlights shine on this life I've built. This old town never changes. I take my heels into this dirt I love. I know that all I have is more than enough. These are the best days of my life. I'm right where I belong. I'm right where I belong. I'm right where I belong. When tomorrow comes, I know there's nothing I'll be waiting for. I dig my heels into this dirt I love. I know that all I have is more than